It's Pete Miller here from No Roads Expeditions.
And I'm Irene Miller. I'm the European Operations Manager. As you can hear, my accent is very strong. I have German background. I hope you can follow through with it.
And I hope you can follow my Australian accent. Alas, we're not in New York. We're actually in Australia where we spend the summer months. And then we head off to Europe when it gets a little bit colder here to spend the summer over there.
So before we get started with our information session tonight about our European trips, just a bit of housekeeping. We have muted all your microphones, so don't be alarmed. If you do have a question during the session, you can pop it in the chat and we attend to it later after we have finished both of the sessions. We have a short break in between both of the sessions with a little bit of surprise.
Excellent. So without further ado, let's get started.
Well, how about some inspiration to get us into the mood and see the types of places we'll be visiting in these two incredible destinations? So I just want to go through our journey this evening, and I wanted to outline what we're going to be talking about. So I thought I'd start with the road to No Roads and who we are. Are we the right fit for you? And then we'll go on to talking about the Grand Tour or the Tour du Mont Blanc. And then I thought we'd have a look at how to make the perfect Aperol Spritz with our secret touch. And then we'll talk about the Pale Mountains and the Dolomites. And finally, we'll answer any questions you may have at the end of the session. Okay, so let's go. So No Roads Expeditions started in 2003 in Indonesia. That was our first place we operated in. And the following year, we opened operations in Papua New Guinea, into the highlands. 2 years after that, we headed off to Nepal and started operations in Everest and Annapurna and beyond. And then in 2012, we opened in Europe and started operations with the TMB, and now we run trips all over Europe. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I wanted you to understand that when you deal with us, when you deal with No Roads, you can be assured that you are dealing with the actual operator, not a middleman or a travel agent. We run all of these trips ourselves with our own teams, our own passion. So you're dealing direct. I thought I'd also talk about what drives us, and maybe that will gel with you as well. So we believe that nature has a profound impact on our lives, that when we are in nature and when we return from being out in nature, we feel better mentally, physically, and spiritually. And while many of our treks are in super remote places like Papua New Guinea's highlands, we don't believe you have to compromise on comfort or compromise on food, which is vitally important. We believe that having a local guide will give you a deeper knowledge of what you are seeing. And we believe your time is precious and we honor it. That's why we host you as our guest rather than a client. A guest is someone you invite and offer your best to make them feel comfortable. You try to offer them what they desire and help them enjoy the time they have with you. These are all underlying fundamental principles within our business. So before we move on, we thought we would blow our own trumpet and let you know what others think of our trips. This one's from Chris LaFranchi, who writes, "We did the Dolomites Explorer trip. It was an amazing trip with fantastic food, great accommodation and guides, and the dinner at the caravan park was an absolute highlight." And for those who are doing the Dolomites trip, you will have a chance to possibly go to the caravan park, and it's not what you expect. I've done several trips with no roads that have all been great in their own way, but this trip was very special. Would highly recommend it just for the scenery alone, 11 out of 10. And we have Sophie, who wrote, Irene?
Well, Sophie said that she had a fantastic Tour du Mont Blanc through no roads, and her guide was amazing. The hotels were charming, the food so much better than ever imagined. Every minute of every day was perfect, and she would happily travel with us again. Thank you, Sophie.
All right, so we'll move on to our trip grading, and the reason why we'll do this is that we want to make sure that these trips are sort of suited to what you're expecting. So the first two trip grades that we have in our business are the Jolly Jaunt and the Balance Break. Now, these certainly are not part of the Tour du Mont Blanc or the Dolomites. They're the next level up, but we just wanted to give you a sample of what's sort of below what the TMB and the Dolomites has to offer. And while we have a bit of fun with the wording here, I'd like you to understand that we take into account a lot of factors, and we take these grading systems quite seriously. So we take into account accommodation, trail conditions, actual activities, food availability, weather and access to and from the trails, etc. So, as I said, these two, Joyful Jaunt and Balance Break, certainly aren't for the TMB or the Dolomites, but what they are, what the TMB and Dolomites is in that high heart rate holiday. Now, I don't want this to put you off. There's plenty of time for sitting back and taking it all in, but these trips, the TMB and the Dolomites, do have some demands on your body, and we do ask you to be physically prepared for them. So some training may be needed depending on what you already do, and we can give you some ideas of how to achieve this. The more prepared you are, the more enjoyable it'll be. And just remember, on the TMB, you can travel at your own pace, and on the Dolomites staycation, you can decide how many of the activities you wish to participate in. So, which trip or tour are you suited for?
So we already had a look at some incredible footage earlier on today, but we thought to start our visual Tour de Mont Blanc tonight, we would show you another very short clip of one of the passes we track over on the TMB. In this video, you can actually see trekking over the Col de Bonhomme. The Col de Bonhomme lays at 2,479 meters, and you can see the snow-capped peaks of the Mont Blanc Massif appearing walking up there. So let's move on and envision together some more trekking on the TMB through 3 countries, from France into Italy, from France further alongside into Italy, over the border. Yes, you actually would have just literally stepped over the border into Italy, and there was no border police in sight. And we move further along the so-called balcony with these incredible views, and then over another border into Switzerland. In Switzerland, we can encounter its handsome bell-swinging cows, trekking alongside the Swiss part of the Val Ferret, while we are staying in quaint and well-appointed boutique hotels each night, located in the villages lining the trek. We will be resting in wonderfully comfortable beds every night and enjoying our private facilities. We sample local and unique cuisine from the valleys we hike through each day. From enormous omelets, don't worry, you will not have to eat that all, to tasty pasta, you might actually want to eat all alone, to delicious buffet breakfast with fresh pastries, fruit, bread, and much more each morning. Finishing off with an afternoon drink surrounded by majestic mountains and green meadows shared with you newly met friends. Immersed in nature,
with frolicking chamois in the distance, or can you hear the squeak of a marmot? Walking through the wide meadows on trails leading past pristine rivers and through cool and lush forests. Hiking in a landscape full of majestic snow-capped peaks, which are everlasting there throughout the year, crowned by the monarch of them all, the Dome of Mont Blanc, or Monte Bianco in Italian. Passing high-altitude lakes reflecting the sublime landscape surrounding them. Past giant glaciers that carved a dramatic vista over the millennia into the landscape and continue to create incredible scenes. Some we might get up so close to we almost feel we can touch them. And in the valleys, we walk through history. From ancient Roman towns like Aosta, with its cobbled pedestrian streets, gelaterias, wine bars, and Roman ruins, to the charming mountain village of Chamonix and its history of mountaineering and hiking. I hope you can envision yourself following this path. But let's take a three-dimensional tour of the Tour du Mont Blanc trek from its valley and over its passes. I will hand over to Peter to guide you through this three-dimensional tour. And here is for you.
All right, here we have a top view of the Alps, and you can see Lake Geneva there at the top, and we're going to zoom down towards Mont Blanc. And at the bottom of the page you can see, or the screen, you can see Chamonix, and there's Mont Blanc at the top, the summit, and the Chamonix Valley below. And the first day we'll walk from Le Hus over these cols to Les Contamines, and then the following day we'll head across a Roman road, an ancient Roman road, to Ville de Glace, and then head up this valley, still in France, towards the Italian border. And you can see there the yellow line is the Italian border, and we're looking now down into Italy. So we'll cross from France into Italy, no passport needed there, and to the beautiful ski resort town of Courmayeur, which overlooks Monte Bianco. And then we keep heading up the Val Ferret towards the Italian-Swiss border. So Italy's on the left and Switzerland is on the right. And then we'll head down the Swiss side of the Val Ferret towards Lake Champex and La Fourlie. Lake Champex is a high altitude lake that freezes over in winter. And then from Lake Champex, we'll head around to an area called Trient, and then up to the Swiss-French border, and that's France now, and that's the Chamonix Valley straight ahead. We'll head back down into France and head along this beautiful ridge line that overlooks the Mont Blanc Massif, have some lunch there at Lac Blanc, and then all the way down into Chamonix for the end of our trip. And that's it.
So now, after having a peek view into the trek, what do some of our trekkers think of the TMB? Let them explain what they think.
What are your thoughts?
Well, when I came onto the trek with an open mind, to be honest, I hadn't read up a lot, and it's just exceeded all my expectations. The beauty, the grandeur, it's just been absolutely magnificent. We've just had lunch up on top of, I would think, one of the highest points, 360-degree view of the Swiss Alps, and you just couldn't think of anything better just to say hey. In fact, you probably won't ever be able to put a lot of the things that you've seen into words to your friends, because it's a bit like a joke that doesn't work. You had to be there.
Great accommodation, and it's been fabulous from the point of view it's been very local. So we've enjoyed the local culture and the local food, and this beautiful, beautiful part of the world has just been amazing. Blown all expectations.
Wow, what an incredible journey this is. After guiding you through this amazing trip, we have put together a few facts for you. We will send you all a one-page summary of each of the tracks tonight as well, but here are the fast facts for the TMB tonight. This track is, first of all, this track is fully supported and it's guided throughout. So your luggage will be transported from destination to destination, and you only need to carry a day pack, and your guide will accompany you all the way. The trekking season for the TMB is from the 15th of June to the 15th of September, and that is when we are operating our treks. The trek is starting and ending in Chamonix, and the closest airport you will be flying in is Geneva Airport, and your airport transfers are also included in the trek. Along the trek, you will be only residing in boutique hotels and no refugios. So this is where we differ from many of the other operators out there, which are actually implementing refugios in their itineraries. While trekking, we are feasting on local produce with most of the meals included in your trek. You will be trekking on a 160-kilometer circuit, and we are going to encounter 10 kilometers of ascents and descents along the trek. So yes, preparation is needed. It's not a walk in the park, but it's an amazing trek, and for this preparation, you're ready to encounter it. We also offer some extras, which is, for example, the town tour in Chamonix and the town tour in the ancient Roman town of Aosta, which is a really nice cultural diversion from your trekking itinerary. The price per person for this trek twin share is $3,300 US. There is a single supplement available. Just contact us if you prefer a single room. So I hope this small visual tour has, started your imagination. And I hand you over to Peter after our little break and the little surprise. And I can answer any questions regarding the TMB later on. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll have a little interlude here. And one of the drinks that you'll experience in Europe, especially in Italy, will be the Aperol Spritz. Now, some of you have already had it, I'm sure. But I thought I'd show you how to make the perfect Aperol Spritz with a little bit of a secret added near the end. So let's have a look. When you head off to Europe this year, and especially in Italy, you're going to have a chance to drink one of the best drinks in the world, which is the Aperol Spritz. Perfect on a sunny, hot afternoon. So I thought maybe I could show you how to make the perfect spritz before you head off. So what we're going to need is some Prosecco, and you don't have to go really high end with the Prosecco. Fruity, cheap's okay, because we're going to mix it. We have the Aperol, of course. We have some sparkling water. We have some ice. Of course, freshly cut orange. A glass, which I've made one already, and a straw. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the Aperol first, which is about 40 mils. We don't have to be too exact, this is Italy, so we don't have to be too exact. Pop that in there. Then the next bit is the ice. We have to put the ice in next to make the Aperol nice and cold. So we'll put the rest of the ice in there. And then we put in the Prosecco. It's about 3 times as much of the Aperol, so I'll add a bit more here. Then the last bit of liquid is the sparkling water. Add that to the drink. And we give it a nice stir. Mix it all around. We add a couple of pieces of orange. And then the secret to this is squeezing the orange juice from your orange into the drink and giving it another quick stir. And pop in the straw and salute. All right, so we've spoken about the Tour du Mont Blanc, and of course Irene loves the Tour du Mont Blanc, but I love the Dolomites. And so we're going to talk about the Dolomites now, a mountain range that's known as the Pale Mountains, and for some, including myself, the most beautiful mountains on the planet. And don't just believe me. John Ball back in 1868 wrote, "A traveller who has visited all the other mountain regions of Europe and remains ignorant of the scenery of the Dolomite Alps has yet to make acquaintance with nature in one of her loveliest and most fascinating aspects." And I couldn't agree more. So our journey begins in beautiful Verona, an ancient Roman city in northern Italy. It is where William Shakespeare set his classic play Romeo and Juliet. Here's a little reminder of that play.
Romeo?
Juliet! I know I ain't supposed to be here, but I just had to see you again.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
What are you talking about? I'm right here. You're looking right at me. You know what? I'll come up there.
Romeo, we can't. What if my father sees us? And wherefore means why, by the way, not where.
Shh, 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 shh. That's stupid. You're stupid.
Verona is a town with a 2,000-year-old history. It was an ancient Roman town, and it has a forum there that can hold up to 30,000 people, and each summer is the scene of fantastic operas, including Carmen, La Traviata, Tosca, and Aida, and this is included in the trip, so you'll be going to this forum. It's a town of beautiful bridges and intimate alleyways. All of this is taken care of in our town tour as part of our trip. And of course, wine. And here we see it says, "Great wine requires a madman to grow the vine, a wise man to watch over it, a lucid poet to make it, and a lover to drink it." And we couldn't agree more. So before I move on, I want to warn you that you may lose your breath from the sheer beauty of the Dolomite Mountains seen in the following images. So you've been warned, okay? So here we go. And here we can see the Dry Zinnen or the Trecime. It's the same place. And it's this beautiful rock formation, and it's really an iconic part of the Dolomites. And we'll be trekking throughout this entire area. So we'll be going up and through these mountains, through to these refugios as part of our trip. And really, it's just an incredible place, breathtaking place, as you can see from this image. Our journey in the Dolomites begins at the Dolomitenhof, set at the foothills of the Dry Zinnen, which is just what you saw. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Let's talk about the activities first. Now, first day is walking the Smuggler's Trail that borders Italy and Austria. And you can see down in the valley there, that's where our hotel is, right down in the valley. And that's the Dry Zinnen is behind those big mountains. But on this day, we'll be walking along the front line, or what was once the front line during the First and Second World War. Through grassland speckled with flowers, and all along ridges with incredible views of the mountains we will be hiking through in the coming days. It's a historical trail of great historical importance, being the frontier during both World Wars. Bunkers and armament placements can still be found along the way, and we can go inside these. And like so many days in the Dolomites, the days nears the end with a delicious meal in the mountain huts. And you can see here this apple strudel down here on the table is absolutely delicious. And then there are the trails within the Dolomites themselves. There are dozens of these, and for your journey, we have chosen some of the best in the area. Of course, these images don't do the area justice. And all throughout the year, there can be snow still left in the mountains, particularly during the earlier treks in June, but that doesn't cause any problems for us. It's not so bad. And it provides a nice little bit of enjoyment for those who don't see much snow back home. These trails lead through a rugged and picturesque landscape. Rays of sharp ridges cut their way to the heavens. It's incredible views. And as the sun sets, the pale mountains turn on a show of every imaginable hue of red and orange. It's really just so breathtaking. And we are left to sit and ponder, how on earth could something so beautiful exist, and why didn't I find it earlier? And wish the same. I wish I'd found the Dolomites in 2003 when I first started the business. And then we return home each afternoon to our luxury accommodation at the foot of the mountains. And you can see on the left, that's the Alta Post and the Dolomites behind. The Alta Post, which is just the side of the Dolomitenhof, is an old post office converted to a hotel with beautiful rooms, great views, and even better food. Rooms are typical mountain style with comfortable beds and private facilities. Lots of timber, beautiful fresh linen, very nice. And the views from your room or balcony are simply breathtaking. There's a pool and spa area, of course, where you can relax and take in the view. And in the afternoon, there are areas for a few drinks, a chat about the day, and to ready ourselves for a feast of 5 courses, all sourced locally and seasonally. And a little known fact, but Angela Merkel, the ex-Chancellor of Germany, stayed here 3 times in her life. She loves it that much. But it's not all hiking. It's how about a bike ride through the Dolomites on an e-bike with lunch at Lake Brace? Through rolling hills, always accompanied by the jagged peaks of the Dolomites, and ultimately arriving at one of Europe's most beautiful lakes, Lago de Brace. Or how about some Via Ferrata? Okay, so you don't know what Via Ferrata is. Well, let us explain.
And today we're doing Via Ferrata, which in Italian means Iron Road, and it was developed by the Italians during the First World War to get up into these mountains. They set up cables, iron cables or wire cables, and they could just take soldiers and equipment way up into the mountains. Now it's become an international sport, and it's sort of a mix between hiking and mountaineering. So we'll have harnesses and helmets on, and this is a beginner's route. It will take us up to a little peak. So there's a few that are a little bit nervous, but it should be fine. So let's get onto the Via Ferrata and the Dolomites. Well, here we are at the start of the Via Ferrata, and we're all kitted out. We've got our helmets, our harness, our guide, and the Via Ferrata. Is there anything I've forgotten? No. So let's get going, hey? Famous area. You can just see right behind me, dry Zealand. Everyone's doing really well. Sometimes a little bit nervous, but at the end everyone has a big smile on their face, which is great. Well, we finished the Via Ferrata, and now we're heading through this tunnel, about a 100-metre tunnel to cut through the mountain. I don't think there'll be much light. How was that, Terrell?
Oh, that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done.
Really?
That's good.
Good. And Chrissy?
Very challenging.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Great. Great experience.
Glad we did it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go.
Wow. Or how about staying in a mountain refugio? And this is part of the Via Ferrata. And before I continue though, I just wanted to say that you can choose to do this or not. So if you don't want to stay in the refugio, you'll still have the room back in the Alta Post for the night. and we'll guide you back there. Or if you want to stay up in the mountain refugio, you can. And these mountain huts, they're beautiful places, usually small and basic, but also way up in the mountain. You'll get the chance to meet people from all over the world and sample some really traditional fare. And the rooms, well, they're dorm style, but all blankets and pillows are provided for, and the place is very, very clean. So it's a very nice place. All right, well, that's the Dolomites for you, and I thought I'd go through a summary like Irene did for the TMB. And I just want to let you know that this is a trip that runs between June and September. Can't go earlier or later because of the snow. It's a trip that starts and ends in Verona, so we'll pick you up in Verona and take you back to Verona. There's accommodation in Verona. It's a luxury hotel trip, so every night you're coming back to a luxury hotel. Most meals are included. The only ones that aren't are lunches, because when we're at the refugios, we want you to have a choice of what you want. Some people want a salad, a strudel, a pasta, and so you can choose from the menu. It's a staycation, so we're basically staying in one place for 7 or 8 days. So you unpack all your stuff into the room, and it's 12 days. And included is the bike tour, as well as the Via Ferrata and a Verona tour. And it's fully supported, of course, so you don't really have to carry a very heavy pack at all, just a day pack. And it's from US $3,450 per person, twin share. There is single supplement, but if you want a single room, just let us know and we can talk about it later. And last but not least, I wanted to talk to you about our guides. All our guides are handpicked by us. They all have mountain guiding credentials, such as IFMGA, which is International Federation of Mountain Guides Association, and many have even more credentials, such as mountaineering guiding and Via Ferrata guiding. All of them are guest focused, ensuring you have a great time and that the activities you are doing are challenging but not over the top, or they are not too easy. And currently we have 7 TMB guides and 4 Dolomite guides. And you can see here Ishmael and Luca do our TMBs, and Angelo, Lee and Andy do our Dolomites. Okay, so we hope you enjoyed our trips to the TMB and the Dolomites. We see there are a few questions, so let's get through them.